Hi, everyone. My name is Chris Mayersky. I'm the Executive Director of Undergraduate Admissions. Thank you for joining us today for our honors program session. We hope that you've been enjoying some virtual sessions this week. And as we prepare to kind of jump into summer, we hope that we could answer some questions in regards to our honors program. I do want to let you know that there is a Q&A tool that you can use if you do have questions throughout the session. We'll be monitoring those questions and we will either answer them directly or answer them live on the virtual session. Without further ado though, I'm going to pass over the session to our honors program. Joining us, we have Dr. Christine Mueller, who's our honors program director. And we also have joining her is her colleague, Jennifer McLaughlin. So without further ado, I'm going to give the floor to Dr. Mueller and let her talk about the honors program.
Okay, thank you so much for that introduction and for hosting us. Thank you to our participants for joining us on, a very unconventional experience for all of us. I am sharing with all of you the newness that is our spring and into summer 2020. So as you can see, I am in a very homespun atmosphere. This is probably something that we've all begun to get accustomed to is, setting up shop. And I just thought I would kind of keep it homespun and real. This is how I've been teaching my classes since the spring. And so to give you an authentic experience of what it would be like to have a class with me from a distance, this is what my upper level honors students were experiencing this spring. Just a little bit about me, just because I mentioned teaching. I am the director of the honors program. I'm also a faculty member of the history department. So I would be potentially seeing you in history classes, or I would see you in honors standalone classes, which we'll say a little bit more about that in a second. But I think I'll just let Jen just really quickly, maybe just say hello a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get into more details about the program.
Okay. Hi, I'm Jen. I am the office assistant, and I also teach honors FYF at Wilkes. So if you were to be in the honors program, you would have me for FYF. I'm also in my other life an author. So I teach writing, and that's what we will be doing and having fun with. So in my other life, I do that. And as well as everyone else, I am at home. There's my dining room behind me. So this is how we have been working out of the office, but we have managed to do so and keep everything going and moving smoothly. So it's nice to meet everybody.
Yeah, so, and thank you, Jen. So there's a couple of ways I could shoot off of what some of the things that Jen said. One, I'll try to keep them all in order because there are a number of ways that I wanted to jump off of what she said. One thing is, us talking about speaking from our homes. When we're on campus, we want the honors office to feel like a home on campus for you. The Wilkes University campus is not enormous. It's not the kind of place that anyone would get lost at anyway. But what honors offers is a smaller community of like-minded students. Students are a little bit more self-motivated, a little bit more interested in exploring things, forgive the cliche, outside the box, for want of a better cliche. So this idea of us talking about this is what our homes look like. We kind of try to keep that vibe even when we're on campus, that the office is meant to feel casual. We have a part of the office that doubles kind of as a study room and a lounge. So if you're in between classes, you have a late night study thing, you have a group project to work on, you can crash there. We have some treats, we have some coffee, tea, hot chocolate. That idea of creating a home away from home is just, it's embedded in the culture of what we do in honors. The other part that this can be a little disconnected, but the other part I wanted to jump off of was the first year foundations course. So I know a couple of you joining in right now, some of you have already, that you've been accepted to the program for the incoming fall semester. So congratulations, welcome. I emailed all of you folks earlier this week to say all of the information that you're going to need to know is going to come up through orientation. Keep looking at our website, keep in touch with the peer mentors. All of that stuff is there. But for sure, all the incoming fall 2020 students will be doing FYF, first year foundations course with Jen, and it's going to be creative writing oriented. And I'll let her say a little bit more about that later. But I just want to emphasize all Wilkes University students take this first year foundations course, but the topic changes depending on the instructor. what honors does with FYF is we maintain whatever the university's expectations are for the class in terms of learning objectives, but we have specific honors objectives in mind, and that's building community, building comfort with the unfamiliar, learning to communicate, critical thinking, critical writing, critical public speaking. There's more than I'm probably leaving out. We have chock full of learning objectives that all get done through this, particularly in terms of creative writing, FYF creative writing oriented class. For those of you who are like, I love to write, you're probably yay. And for those of you who are a little bit less certain of that being your strength, trust me, the idea of this, particularly if you've ever done a group project and you're kind of like, well, some people pull their weight. Sometimes I'm the one that has to do the whole thing at the end of the project. By the time the project deadline comes along, I'm like growling because some people pulled their weight, some people didn't. That's not what creative writing work is. Creative writing work is very collaborative. No one cannot do their own work and kind of like feel like you're being dragged down. Everybody contributes and collaborates their shared ideas. So you're getting a lot of academic learning at the same time that you're getting a lot of the interpersonal and networking skills that we want our honor students to have to build that community, solid foundation for future classes, for future life, personal and professional development. I do want to mention though, just really quick, and then we'll let Jen chime in a little bit on FYF specifically. Some of you participating in this event though did not apply to the honors program for the fall. So just to give you a heads up, what that means is you will take your first year foundations course, Wilkes University advisors, whoever your advisor is going to assign to you, will help you find that right course. And if you apply next year, during the coming academic year to the honors program, we do let current students apply to the program. So if you apply during the next academic year, what we're in the works of producing is an upper level. You'll still get a cohort experience. You'll be taking a course with other honors students oriented around creative writing, but it just won't be first year foundations specifically. You'll be doing something a little bit different. So yeah, I'll stop for 1 second just in case Jen wants to chime in a little bit more to say anything about that. But
I think you covered it pretty well. It's all about community building, having fun. The class is very interactive, lots of fun conversation. The way that we have the FYF set up is it's tied to 2 courses currently. One is History 101 and one is CS 115. So you're immediately getting some of your honors credits out of the way. And you're also building that community and spending more time with your colleagues to get those ties and those networking skills that you're going to need when you enter the graduation world. So it's a whole lot of fun. You guys are all going to enjoy it, I promise. I have a degree in writing. I have published over 50 books. It's not something that I'm just not familiar with. I can help you. I will get you where you need to be, and you'll walk away being better at all of those skills that we had discussed earlier.
Yeah, so some of you may have noticed that life doesn't always proceed in expected ways. And so who knew? And so one of the hallmarks of the honors education at Wilkes has always been familiarizing people, certain basic skills, interpersonal skills, critical thinking skills. I've used the specific terminology before, getting comfort with the unfamiliar. That is applicable to everyone. You might be a mechanical engineering major, you might be majoring in business or nursing. Notice the world around you. What we all are realizing that we want more of, to feel more confident and comfortable about, is certain critical skills to be able to see the unfamiliar, whether it's unfamiliar people, unfamiliar situations, cultural practices, types of knowledge. I don't know anything about accounting, but I'm willing to stretch myself because of that. So honors program is, again, we try to do things that are applicable to you as a person, to you as a student, and to you as a future person in the workforce. There's a couple of other things we could say about the community. What I don't want to overlook though, and just make sure I communicate this up front, I'll just say something about the application process for current students, so I don't overlook doing that. And then we'll say a little bit more about what the honors program generally consists of. So I did mention some of the participants I noticed are students who've already applied by April 15th, got notified, have been accepted, yay. April 15th is the deadline for honors program applications, whether you are an incoming student, a current student, or a transfer student. So if you did not meet the April 15th deadline, that deadline will come again next year. So if you are a current Wilkes student or, well, I guess that's the population. So if next year you are on the Wilkes campus community and you are interested in the honors program, by no later than April 15th. So you can do your application much sooner than April 15th. As I tell my classes, by no later than means like you have like dozens and dozens, if not hundreds of days to turn something in. It's just April 15th is like the time by which it has to happen, no later. So you have many, many days up until April 15th to apply as a current Wilkes student. So picture yourself on as part of the Wilkes community next year. You would need a 3.5 cumulative GPA, a minimum of 6 remaining semesters to make sure you can finish all honors requirements. Like we don't want to accept you to a program that you can't complete. That would be sinister. We don't consider ourselves sinister people. And two faculty recommendations, just to make sure that this is something, what we're most interested in is a fit. And we're about to say shortly, a fit for what else goes into the honors program, but just to keep that in mind, what we're interested in is everything that we talk about is something that you as a student are like, I want you to do that thing. That is the thing that I would like to do. So how can I do this thing? As opposed to feeling like we're adding something onerous. Some people are very concerned about the workload in honors. Does it make things harder? It just makes things, it's more. I just talk about it in terms of more. What it is an opportunity to go in more in depth in a subject or more in breadth. We had a lot of study abroad folks. We've had people go to conferences, just doing things that are a little bit more involved, a little bit more involved in drawing out your own talents and your own interests and your own curiosity. So some people might hear that and say like, that does sound really hard. I do not want to do that. And that's totally fine. But some people might think, it sounds like a little bit more stuff to do, but like, that's what I want to do. Like, I'm really interested in, I'm an American studies person. So I'm really interested in, American popular culture and museums. So if you tell me that I can do an internship at the Smithsonian for a summer, instead of, anything else I could do, like sign me up, because I would like to know more about, popular culture, and the Smithsonian's American History Museum has great exhibits on it. Yes, yes, yes. Whereas other people might feel like, oh God, that just sounds like this extra thing. So it's more of a fit. Is it something that resonates with your interest as opposed to feeling like this added thing that drags you down? Let's talk a little bit about, let's start about the community. And I'll tag team this back to Jen, just in terms of like activities, community groups, like, I feel like now I'm doing a talk show, like what we...
Yeah, we do. We have activities all year long that are for honor students. Last year in the fall semester, we went to Gettysburg. We did the battlefield tour. Yep. And we did the ghost tour at night. So that was fun. We did glass blowing, where honor students got to have the special opportunity to make paperweights right on campus. So I have one of them on my desk. Come see it. We went hiking, skiing. We had all these plans for spring, but as we know, things changed. We had a movie night. So just lots of activities that keep you busy and help build that community that we keep talking about. And we offer what's called Pizza Pluses, where we feed you pizza and you come and you listen to a speaker and you learn things. Last year, the favorite was the dietitian. I believe everybody really enjoyed that. You can ask questions, network with faculty that you would have never met before, and you get all these opportunities from being in the honors program and getting to do them.
Yeah, and I would just emphasize, like we keep talking about networking and meeting people. Again, Wilkes is not an enormous campus, but when you major in something, you end up seeing a lot of the same students and faculty, which is great. It'll get great mentorship. All students are wonderful. But what honors as an interdisciplinary program enables to have happen is, I know this person in nursing and I'm, a biology major, or I know this person has been doing sports management, and I would never have like really gotten to know that person as well if I hadn't had my first year foundations course with them, or my seminar with them. This faculty member in pharmacy that did the dietitian Pizza Plus talk, I myself would almost never encounter her, and now it's somebody else that I know who has an area of expertise that I don't have. So I also, another way of thinking about this is honors gives you a chance to consciously reach further and further into the world, in the sense that each one of us can only have a limited number of experiences, no matter how active we are. You know, we're only one person. So the more people that you know that do the more different things than you do, that's your little additional reach into the world. And when we talk about these activities that we did on campus, Jen and I have already started planning, you know, anything can happen, and we're all ready to be adaptive and adaptable. We're all ready for that. So next year, we're ready for whatever happens. And we already started talking about movie nights from afar, you know, that we could all do this from a distance. If we could do varying, was it, I don't know, I forgot, was it painting? Every time, yeah, painting. There's a couple of different, I mean, this is like the earliest days, because we're still, as many people are, we're still planning things out. But I want to underscore and emphasize that whatever happens next year, the honors community is going to remain strong, in touch, tight, connected. You'll be hearing from us for sure on a regular basis. We have a weekly newsletter that continues no matter what, and it features, you know, content that we generate, but largely it's reflecting back what everybody in the honors community is doing. I think, let me just say something about the courses, and then I guess that's, well, largely, we can see if there's any other pieces I overlooked. But you know, the requirements for the honors program is the honors FYF, the honors section of the FYF, First Year Foundations course. If you are applying as a current student, you would have already taken FYF as not honors. So as Jen and I mentioned earlier, you'll take a different creative writing oriented honors centered course. You would take HNR 390. That is a senior capstone requirement. Every major has one, but ours is only 1 credit, whereas others are 3. So we keep it to a manageable load, and it's bringing you back. You had your cohort experience in your early years, and to cap off your experience at Wilkes Honors before you graduate, you have this other seminar just with other honors students. And we try to, I'm the one who teaches it, so what I emphasize is, again, this collaboration. You're all in groups of interdisciplinary, everybody's from a different major and put into a group, trying to focus on a particular topic where you can each bring your respective expertise, like what you've learned in your major, you can bring to the table in your group. So just because it was so timely and relevant, I'm just going to go in a little bit more detail about that now, because it's specific to the capstone seminar, but it also helps summon what the honors experience is looking to accomplish. So this semester, we did our seminar in person until we couldn't. All of the groups were, as I said, interdisciplinary. You had each group, one group, for example, was neuroscience, marketing, communication. I forget who the other folks were. And they were assigned a topic that they were supposed to kind of contribute together toward. And that topic was globalization, just super broad, completely open-ended. It was up to them to figure out, what do we want to say about globalization? Like, what do we want to research about it? And what they decided mid-semester was they want to talk about public health and globalization. So, you know, it's a very hot off the presses thing where they examined how communication and marketing matters to the current conditions that we're in. Like, how does messaging enable, like, the pharmaceutical industry to operate effectively, you know, communicating accurate information about medicines, about what does or doesn't cause a virus, making sure that everybody has equal access to the information. You needed people that knew the science about the medicines, the science about the health, people that know how communication marketing people know how those modes work. You needed all of those people who knew different parts of the issue to come together and address how globalization affects public health issues, and how that works together. So that's the aim of all of us, this collaboration, this readiness for the unfamiliar, this ability to communicate, to accomplish shared goals, just all kinds of good stuff. And then I digressed a bit. Was one other thing to keep in mind about honors course requirements. There's a total of 18 honors specific credits that you should take, but we don't say what specific courses. So you're required to take, you know, this FYF and this capstone seminar. The other 18 credits, it's your discretion. They could be honors sections of classes in your major. They could be honors sections of electives. They could be, I taught a course this semester that counted for sociology honors and history on US identity and power, or identity and power in US history. So there's any number of ways that you can take honors courses to fulfill major requirements, or to just explore something that's like, I would never have done this before, but I'm gonna do it because it's offered as an honors class, and now that's like something I now know that I didn't know before. So that's, yeah, I guess that's, I don't know, anything, Jen, that you can think of that we should have touched on, or?
I think some of you already know this, I think, but you all live together. If you live on campus, you live together in Waller. So you would be living together freshman year. You would be going to FYF together freshman year. You'll be going to either history or computer science together freshman year. So something that's really big about the honors program, again, is the community. You start in FYF with me, you end in HNR 390 with Dr. Moeller, and we're there for you. Like, you can come talk to us about anything. Like, I'm always there when we're actually there. You can come and complain to me because you got a bad grade, and I will listen. I could be your home away from home. Come talk to me. And a lot of students do that. And just know, like, whenever you want to, you come to the office, you get your piece of chocolate if you're having a bad day, get some hot chocolate or some coffee, talk a little bit if you want, and then you can go about your day, and you have that home base while being away from home. And I think that's very important as well when it's your first time away from what you're familiar with, which is your parents. So just keep in mind that we're here for you, and you can come see us anytime.
Thank you. So I think our colleague was keeping track of questions, so I'm happy to start fielding any comments or questions that anybody might have.
Yeah. As folks start to think about some questions, I'll post some just from a university standpoint and an admissions standpoint. In regards to the honors program, can you give, in your opinion and expertise, what would be like the top three benefits of being a part of the honors program at Wilkes?
So I think the intellectual training of being, I'll just keep hammering home this one particular phrase, comfort with the unfamiliar. I really, again, because it covers the idea of networking with your fellow students, getting to know as many of them as possible, encountering unfamiliar academic material that may or may not feel like your initial strength, being ready for all comers. So one of the principal benefits, I would say, is that ability to kind of work with unexpected experiences, unexpected people, unexpected values, people who think differently than you do, who value things differently than you do. Number one, comfort with the unfamiliar is something that we really highlight. And again, I feel like it's almost just implicit in the experiences that we're all encountering these days, just what that means. Second value is actually something we didn't quite mention, the enhancement grants, which is we do offer for the incoming folks beginning fall 2020 on, you have $1,000 per student that you have the ability to use toward an experience, such as going to a conference or studying abroad, or we had a performance-oriented senior who used a lot of her money for dance training and choreography, and she was amazing. So anything that you are interested in academically to enrich your understanding of the world, your understanding of course material, research in the lab, performance on the stage, like I said, study abroad's part of it. Enhancement grants are this funding that enables you to do something that might be difficult to do without that funding. So every incoming student from fall 2020 on gets $1,000 that they would, you pitch it to us to make sure it's an experience that matches these aims of the program. But then you also have every year, there's 25, I think, additional grants available by competition, $4,000 a piece. And by competition, it's not like jousting. It's
Hunger
more
Games.
just, exactly, choose your weapon. It's more application based, and there's two reasons for that. One is with a larger amount of money, we want to make sure that you're really presenting something that is going to use that money in a worthwhile way. Same basic idea of something co-curricular that's going to develop you intellectually and personally, and experience. So not stuff, like you can't like go buy a computer, but you can buy something like an experience, something where you're doing something. But another aspect of that application process is you'll find as life goes on, anytime there are finite resources, whether you're applying to graduate school, you're applying to a fellowship, there are postgraduate fellowships that exist, whether you're just in a job and you have a team, a work group that you're responsible for, and you want to get more money from your boss. it is always going to be in the format of you pitching your idea. What do you need? Why? How are you going to spend that money? What do you expect to get out of it? So there's the learning experience embedded in it. So when I say this competitive application, we're an institution of education and higher learning. So everything that we do is purposeful and is intended to generate that thinking and that training for something more and greater as the next step. So this application is not so much that we expect, people who apply to be turned down for arbitrary reasons. It's more to ensure that as you're going through the process, it's meaningful, it's purposeful, and it's going to develop skills as you apply for that grant money that are going to give you greater success as you throughout your life have to start applying for finite resources and other things. So I think, was that only 2? Was there 3 that we were supposed to do?
That was 2.
There's a number of other scenarios that I could mention. I don't know if I could put in a couple others. Is there anything that's coming to mind, Jen, that you think needs to be the 3rd?
I think the enhanced academic material itself, because you're learning more, you're applying yourself more, and that's just going to off the bat give you more of a step ahead of other colleagues, because your transcript will note that you were in the honors program. They'll know that you were applying yourself right from the very beginning and that you took that extra step. So when you're applying to jobs after you're done or you're building your resume, you're always going to have that on there. And that's something that's always going to make you stand out, whether it's for grad school, for jobs, for anything. And I kind of wanted to circle back to what you said, because one of the things that we ask for when you're applying for these grants is your resume. So from year 1, you're going to already have a resume going. We can help you with that. We're going to have pizza pluses about such things. So like, you're always going to be just a little step ahead of everybody else. And that's what I think is a really good benefit of the program, is having all of that at your fingertips.
Any other questions or comments?
No, that was very helpful. I think a popular question, and I know you touched on it a little bit, but for students that aren't in the program as incoming students and want to apply once they're current students, what are the things that would be important in that process that you look at and that students can be kind of keeping in the back of their mind as they're working through their studies and their extracurricular activities?
Sure. So one of the minimum requirements was a minimum cumulative collegiate GPA of 3.5. So we won't be looking at your high school GPA at that point. And the reason why it's set at 3.5 is because, again, like, honors is not intended to be this onerous extra burden where, you're just struggling to stay afloat. And first year of anything, first year of a job, first year of college, first year of high school, if you remember back in the day, there's just a lot to learn. There's a lot to learn, a lot to manage, especially from senior year in high school, the first year in college. You're coming off of really having, you've got it. Like, senior year in high school is when you're like totally like done, like you got it, figured it out, it's all good. And now you have to relearn things again. So what we don't want is people in their first year to feel like they're struggling to master this whole new situation that they're in. And then on top of it, add something else that feels like it's tipping over the boat, as opposed to making them feel like they're rowing ahead nice and strong and happily. So the 3.5 GPA is intended to just, it means that first year is going okay. You know what, academically, you are ready to hit the ground running. It's good, it's solid, you've got your feet underneath you in a nice solid way. So if you're gonna add anything on, and adding honors is adding something on, all the things that we talked about are, there's stuff that we offer you to do, but there's action involved. Like, you are doing the things that we offer you to do. So it's not a passive experience. So, so one of the things is that it's available to you as something when you feel comfortable and you want more. Yes, please. Thank you. I would like more, please. That's what this is for. So that 3.5 minimum GPA is to ensure that you're in a good comfort zone for that. 2 faculty letters of recommendation. That means that, and this is not a hardship at Wilkes by any means to get to know your faculty. Again, speaking from the history department perspective, which I mean, it's the one I know most directly. I know my colleagues there the best, so I can just affirmatively state faculty know you at Wilkes. So this is not a hardship to get 2 faculty letters of recommendation if you're taking, somewhere like 5 classes a semester. Unless, you're really, really hovering at the darkest corner of the lecture hall, or you like literally never speak or communicate to your professor ever and hope they never notice that you exist. in which case, again, it's in terms of fit, like then it's not a fit because honors depends on mutual reciprocal interactions between faculty members and students. That when faculty mentors are reaching out to you, you're into it. You're like, yes, let's talk more about the word 1812 because like I'm totally into it. Or I had a student this semester, not an honor student, it's kind of like, oh, I should probably have tapped him and said, you should consider it. Totally into the Civil War in my US History 2 class. Like just loved it. Goes to battlefields in his free time. He may be a reenactor. I actually think he might be.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, so yeah, in terms of a fit, that is something then your faculty member get to know you. There's something that you're passionate about. You have a certain level of commitment to your classes, to things that you think about and you care about. So faculty letters of recommendation are there to make sure, that you're already doing the things that you're going to be doing a lot more of once you're in the honors program. Again, it's in terms of fit. It's that it's not so much that, if this doesn't sound like it's right for you, that you're like not a great student, you're just a different student. Just like, you try out for the lacrosse team and you try out for the tennis team, if you make one and not the other, it doesn't mean that you're not an athlete. It just means that you're fit for one sport, you're fit for one style of doing things. And that should be where you go. So I would kind of, I don't know, is there anything you wanted to add, Jen?
No, I think that was great.
Any other questions?
I think we're good right now, and I really appreciate you kind of giving some additional insight into the program and a little bit more of the ins and outs and what students can expect. I think it's great to have them kind of be able to become familiar with your faces already. So that's a good thing too. If any of the students, obviously I know you've been in contact with them, so those students can reach out to you directly, but I also just mentioned in the chat to kind of get on the webpage, and if there's any additional follow-up questions, not hesitate to reach out to you. But other than that, I appreciate you kind of joining us, and once again, we hope you have a great summer to those students that are on the webinar right now. And we're really hopeful that we'll be back on campus soon. There's been a lot of positive news recently, and hopefully things start to continue to trend in the right direction. And we're all itching to kind of get back to campus because we really miss our students, and I know that's even more from the faculty standpoint. So thanks again for joining us, and we hope to see you soon.
Thank you all. Be well. Stay healthy.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks.